Hi everyone, welcome to Nusantara Folktales with me. And this week I wanted to tell you one of the folktales that I'll be using in the current novel that I'm writing. For those of you who don't know, I'm in the middle of writing a novel, like the early stages, and it's a mythological story with lots of folktale characters from our Nusantara folktales. So I wanted to use this story because it is one of the very few folktales from Malaysia that features a witch. I've been looking at folktales for a long time now, and it's actually quite rare to find a Malay folktale or a Nusantara folktale that feature an actual kind of authentic evil witch. I'm talking about like that horrible witch in Hansel and Gretel, for example. So we have a lot of kind of like old wise women characters, the Nenek Kebayan character, but we don't really have like a true authentic wicked witch in our stories. At least I haven't found any. If you know any stories like that, please let me know. Okay, because I'm desperately looking for these kind of stories. But in this story, there is a woman who is quite evil and quite witchy, and I will be using the characters in this story in the novel that I'm writing. So the story is called Putreri Manis and Cencewi. Puteri means princess, so Manis means sweet, so sweet princess, and Cencewi. Cencewi is the name of the witch that I'm talking about. So I'll be reading you the story. I've actually also adapted this particular story in my Nusantara Sea of Tales book, which is behind me there at the hand there. You can see it. So this is Puteri Manis and Cencewi. The people of Kampung Jelujuk were very puzzled how Cencewi could still remain young and beautiful at her age. Women of her age were already old and wrinkled. Many of them believed that Cencewi kept an evil spirit to keep her youthful looks. One day, Cencewi found a baby adrift in the river. She took the baby home with her and named it Puteri Manis, or Sweet Princess. However, she kept the child caged like an animal under her house. The villagers were very sorry for Puteri Manis, but they were powerless to do anything to help her. Puteri Manis grew up to be a beautiful young lady. One day, a merchant came to Kampung Jelujuk with 3 of his assistants. They brought a lot of beautiful jewelry and material for sale. It was dusk when they reached Cencewi's house. After bargaining, Cencewi bought 3 suits of beautiful clothes. However, it was already dark. Cencewi invited them to spend the night in her house. While the men were resting, Cencewi began cooking for supper. She was going to cook fish, but strangely, she threw the flesh of the fish under the house and only cooked the scales and bones in the pot. Then she broke some eggs. She put the shells in the kuali and threw the contents under the house. She cooked some rice, but it became porridge. Finally, the merchant and his men were invited to eat. They were shocked to see what they were served with. Suddenly, from a hole in the floor, a plate of fish was pushed up. Its aroma whetted their appetite. Soon after, a plate of omelette appeared. Finally, rice, which was probably cooked, was pushed up from the hole in the floor. They ate the food with relish. When they had finished eating, the merchant and his assistants went under the house. They were appalled to see Puteri Manis inside a cage. It was she who had cooked their delicious meal. That very night, Puteri Manis was rescued by the merchants. Cencewi remained the way she was, but one day the villagers discovered that she had turned as ugly as a witch. The end. So the story that I've just read comes from this book, 366, a collection of Malaysian folk tales, compiled by Osman Puteh and Arifin Said. As you can see, it is a very well-loved book, and surprisingly, even though this is a children's book, there are so many stories in there I have never heard of. So I do use this as a resource, but I also try to find other versions of the story that I find in this book. in other books. That is a very brief folktale of Cencewi and Putreri Manis. It's short, but I think it's quite powerful, it's quite impactful. I'm going to use the characters and kind of like examine the relationship between Cencewi the witch and Putreri Manis, because I think there's something there that I can work with. So I hope you enjoyed that story, and I'll see you in the next video.